Are back on Get Up, and it is trade season in the NFL. So we're going to come back with a little game here with Mike T, our resident wheeler and dealer. And the game is called Who Says No. So Mike T has a fascinating one.
All right, here we go.
Let's see if Orlowski loses his mind. What is your first suggestion for Who Says No?
Micah Parsons straight up for Myles Garrett. And here's why, Greeny. Myles Garrett said he's never going to play in Cleveland ever again. 29 years old, in the prime of a Hall of Fame career. Well, if I'm going to do that, I want to acquire a potential Hall of Famer in Micah Parsons. Now, he'll be more expensive because he's in the last year of his deal. Myles Garrett is actually pretty reasonable 2 years to go on his deal. But if I'm Cleveland and I'm trying to salvage a great pass rusher and I'm convinced that Myles Garrett won't play, Greeny, this is a way to actually hold serve as a pass rush.
Well, why not just pay Micah Parsons if you're the Cowboys?
Thank you. That's who says no is the Cowboys.
Why
It's
not
an
just
easy
pay
answer.
Micah Parsons?
Because Myles Garrett would actually be cheaper for the
No,
next
he
couple
wouldn't.
of
You got to sign him too. If you acquire Myles Garrett, you're going to have to give him a new contract.
And you're going to have to give up whatever pick the Cowboys have in the first round this year and probably a second round pick.
Not for Micah Parsons. I mean, if you trade them Micah Parsons, then you are getting Myles Garrett for, if anything, the compensation would go the other way.
Yeah,
Or pay Micah.
I think Cleveland would do this deal. I don't think Dallas would.
I don't know. Myles Garrett is dying to say all he wants to do is win a championship. I'm not sure this is going to solve that problem for him so quickly.
But again, if I'm Dallas, it's cheaper to do this than to pay Micah Parsons.
But so it's strictly a money thing for Dallas?
Well, yeah, because you have a lot of other things you have to get done. Like we.
So why not just trade Micah away for picks?
Because Myles Garrett is a Hall of Fame pass rusher.
But he's not going to help you win for the next year. If you're trading away Micah, it means you are acknowledging we are not going to win the next 2 years.
But if you have Myles Garrett, your pass rush stays the same. And you got cheaper.
But
okay, we didn't
ultimately
see
not by much. Garrett's going to need another contract.
Let's try the next one. Let's try the next one. We have another suggestion for Mike T. Let's see if this one's more popular.
All right, Myles Garrett and a first-round pick for J.J. McCarthy. So in this one, if you're Minnesota, hey, maybe we could get to the Super Bowl with the Hall of Fame pass rusher. Obviously, you're going to re-sign Sam Darnold, and now J.J. McCarthy answers the Browns' question at quarterback.
Graziano?
So you're already paying the wide receiver 35, 36 million a year.
Right.
You're going to sign Sam Darnold for what? 45, 50? Then you're going to get Myles Garrett, who's probably going to want mid-30s too. That's a tough way to go.
But that's
J.J. McCarthy's going to be the Vikings quarterback. Like J.J. McCarthy's going to be the Vikings quarterback.
But isn't that where the Cowboys are? The Cowboys are paying the quarterback even more than that, and the receiver just as much as that, and now they're going to pay the pass rusher every bit as much as that. That's what I'm saying. But
why is Minnesota doing this? Why is Minnesota trading away J.J. McCarthy?
Because this trade might put them in the Super Bowl.
I don't hate this trade. This all comes down to what Cleveland really believes about J.J. McCarthy. Like, if Cleveland loved J.J. coming out of school last year and they were super high on him, then I think this, and I said this in December, I think this has the chance to be a reality. It depends on what happens with Sam Darnold and Minnesota's belief on J.J. as well. I don't hate this one at all.
I think it's Minnesota that says no.
Minnesota's belief on J.J. McCarthy is high.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's any chance that they're going to move off of him.
I think they think he's their quarterback and he is the much less expensive option. But okay, we're getting closer.
All right,
we're getting closer. Now let's get to the third one. And you were telling me, because it's a little convoluted, but that this is something people are talking about.
Yeah, spoke to a few people at Indy. So here we go. Cleveland wants to get rid of Deshaun Watson's contract. So the only way to do that would be to pair it with Myles Garrett and go to a team like the Rams and say, hey, you can get Myles Garrett, but you have to eat the contract of Deshaun Watson. So basically you're saying we're going to acquire the Rams, Myles Garrett, and pay $92 million, which is you're going to take Deshaun Watson, Greeny, and there's some salary cap complexities, but basically then you're going to release Deshaun Watson, eat $92 million over the next couple of years. And if you're the Rams and you want to get to the Super Bowl and beat the Eagles, you now have Myles Garrett to do it. And if you're the Browns, you're resetting your franchise.
You finally got one. This one hits right here. I love this. If you're the Rams, can they financially pull it off because they're so young?
Yeah, well, you would have to figure out a way to.
I love it. If you're the Rams.
Let's be clear. For the Rams, this is really just the money, right? It's not really the cap hit. It's the $92 million. I understand that. And I understand that's a lot of money. I also understand.
But the Rams are a 2-year window, so who cares about the dead money?
And they actually did that. If you look back,
money, it's the real money. I mean, like if you can afford to spend $92 million on a player that's not on your team, tip of the cap. I mean, good for you, Stan Kroenke, for having that kind of money.
But he does.
But he does.
That kind of money.
He does have
married into the Walton family.
And when you look at back of the envelope, you give him a big sign bonus, you hold him for a year, and then you do a post-June 1st. Look, they did it with Jared Goff. If you look at it carefully, they guaranteed him over $100 million, and then a year later moved on from him in the Stafford trade. So, look, it's unlikely. I'm just saying people have talked about it conceptually. And if you're Cleveland, you don't want to lose Myles Garrett, obviously, but if you could reset your franchise.
Yeah. So let's actually have that conversation here for just a minute. The Myles Garrett of it all.
Yeah.
Because from what I'm gleaning from people like you who are, talking to everyone in Indianapolis and everywhere else, that both sides are pretty dug in here, right? Yeah. Garrett is dug in and the Browns are dug in. So we've got next week is free agency. Mm-hmm. The end of next month is the draft. Something is going to have to happen between now and then, if it's going to happen at all,
That's
right?
The thing, right? Like from Cleveland's perspective, no, nothing has to happen because they want to have Myles Garrett on their team. So when teams are calling the Browns about Myles Garrett, they're shutting it right down. They say, nope, not interested. Not interested in hearing what you have to say. We're not interested in not having him on our team. Now, could that change? You say Myles Garrett is dug in. If I'm Cleveland, I say prove it. Right? But then we're not going to know that till September when he's willing to sit out real games. So at this point, barring some significant change in Cleveland's position, they are not taking Myles Garrett.
Can I make what might be a controversial statement? I love Myles Garrett. I think he's one of the best players, one of the best defensive players that we've seen in the NFL in recent memory. Would you rather have the king's ransom of a trade package you might get for him if you were Cleveland right now, and you're not anywhere near winning a championship with Myles Garrett, whether you think you are or not? Would you rather have that king's ransom or have him on your team incredibly disgruntled?
Yeah,
he obviously has made it as clear can be. He has gone on every show that you can and said, I don't want to be here. Would you rather have an incredibly unhappy Myles Garrett or everything you might get in exchange for him?
Greedy, I totally agree. And take it a step further, and you have massive question marks at quarterback. So that's why you have to solve the quarterback along with this Myles Garrett situation.
Yeah, if I'm Cleveland, and again, I've been saying this since last season, I think the reality is Myles looks at your quarterback situation and does not believe in it and doesn't think there's going to be anything that changes that. So I don't think he plays for them ever again. I honestly don't believe that Myles Garrett ever steps on the field as a Brown again.
But Dan, to Graz's point, just as a former GM, I have to be convinced that you're going to retire and not play. Right. We won't know that till September.
And what I'm saying is I'm not 100% sure they're not better off anyway, and that is not disrespecting Myles Garrett. He's an unbelievable player. But the reality is they can keep doing a lot of losing with Myles Garrett. They've shown they can do it, and it probably will continue. Yeah. You're better off starting all over again.
2 first-round picks for him.
What are you getting for him? If you just take everything else out of it?
At least 2 ones and hopefully a young skill player.
Okay, done, sold. If I'm Andrew Barry, I'm taking those calls even if.
Từng mũi một cho đến hết nhé. Tiếp tục mũi tiếp theo này. Đấy, móc tiếp những mũi nữa cũng y như vậy. Đấy, móc luân phiên như này là được nhá. Giờ có những cái mũi cuối mình cũng lặp lại những cái bước như vậy, móc cho đến hết. Rồi móc tiếp 5 mũi nữa nhé. Tiếp tục móc. Mũi tiếp này. Đấy, mọi người móc đủ 5 mũi vào cho mình. Ok rồi. Bây giờ mình sẽ gỡ thêm len ra nhá. Đây này. Vẫn phải thêm len nữa mới sao. Gỡ thêm len. Mọi người gỡ cẩn thận không nó rối nhá. Bây giờ móc tiếp những mũi tiếp theo nhé. Đây, móc tiếp nữa này. 5 mũi vào một chân. Tiếp tục mũi nữa này. Mũi tiếp theo cũng y như vậy nhé. Mọi người móc đủ 5 mũi cho mình là được. Tiếp tục mũi tiếp theo này. Mũi tiếp theo cũng y như vậy. Đấy, móc đủ 5 mũi là được. Đấy. Bây giờ mình sẽ móc nốt hai cái này, hai cái chân này nữa là xong nha mọi người. Rồi móc tiếp 5 mũi vào một chân. Tiếp tục móc xuống nha mọi người, cứ lần lượt cho đến hết. Mũi nữa này. 3 mũi rồi, thêm 2 mũi nhé. Tiếp tục móc. Đấy. Ok rồi, bây giờ mình sẽ móc nốt cái chân cuối cùng này nhá mọi người. Mình cũng sẽ móc những cái mũi tiếp theo vào. Đây mình móc xuống. Đây móc tiếp 5 mũi nữa này. Tiếp tục nhá, cứ lần lượt cho đến hết. Đấy, móc lần lượt thế này là được nhá. Còn 2 mũi nữa là xong. Mũi tiếp theo này. Mũi nữa cũng như vậy nhé. Ok, bây giờ mình sẽ siết dây lại. Đây. Mình sẽ được cái phần màu xanh rất là xinh như thế này. Rồi, giờ mình lại móc cái phần màu hồng lên nhé. Giờ lại móc phần màu hồng lên. Mình móc lên này. Sau đó siết chặt cái phần màu xanh lại. Siết chặt lại.